Good evening, Glendale. The Design Review Board 2 public meeting of January 28, 2010 is called to order. Please refrain from talking amongst yourselves during the meeting, and please turn off or put on vibrate all cell phones and pagers. If you need to talk, please leave the meeting room. Anyone who wishes to speak, including applicants, is asked to completely fill out one of the speaker's cards provided at the table by the front door and submit it to staff. You will be called to present a case or speak on a specific item as desired. Anyone who wishes to be re-noticed about a project must completely fill out one of the postcards provided at the table by the front door and submit it to staff to receive notice of subsequent meetings. Current DRB agendas are available by calling our DRB hotline at 818-548-3171 or by visiting our website at www.ci.glendale.ca.us. A handout describing the procedures of the meeting, possible board decisions, and DRB reconsideration and appeals is available at the table by the front door. Please note that appeals must be filed within 15 calendar days of the DRB decision date. The chairperson may reorder agenda items at his or her discretion. Roll call. Mr. Baladian?
Yes.
Mr. Garagos?
Here.
Mr. Malikian is absent. Ms. Sakai? Absent. And Mr. Zarifian?
Here.
Report regarding posting the agenda. The agenda for this meeting was posted on the bulletin board outside City Hall at or before 5 p.m. on January 21st, 2010. The next, oral communications. Well, actually, on the agenda we have the election of a chairperson scheduled for tonight.
Motion.
Do you want to vote on that, or do you want to wait until there's a full board?
Yeah, we should wait for the full board.
Well, they need to do it for tonight, just for tonight.
Well, we also need to elect a...
I'll just say for tonight, if you want to do it for tonight.
Okay. Do you want to do a
I
pro
move
tem?
to have Mr. Kyriakos to be our chair for tonight.
Okay. Second?
I say.
All right. Mr. Garagos will be the chairperson pro tem. Oh, thank you. We need to vote on that. Mr. Zarifian?
Yes.
Mr. Baladian?
Yes.
Mr. Garagos?
Abstain.
Okay, thank you. Oral communications. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak on an item not a part of this agenda? Any cards?
No.
No?
Sorry.
Okay. So we're on to the review calendar. Staff at this time doesn't have any announcements. We do have one item on the consent calendar. However, that wasn't properly noticed. The sign wasn't posted on the site. So we'd like to continue that to February 25th. Is there a motion to continue that to the 25th of February?
Yes. Motion to move. I'm sorry, I don't know the.
It's
Move that stated.
It's DRB 2 PDR 2009-073-A at 3759 Los Amigos.
Yeah.
I'd like to continue that to February 25th.
Yes. I move to move the case number 2-PDR-2009-073-A to our February 25th.
Agenda.
Is that the date?
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Zarifian.
Yes.
Mr. Baladian?
Yes.
Mr. Garagos?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. We are down to the item at 3443 East Chevy Chase on our regular calendar.
Very good. Welcome, everyone. We're starting with 2PDR-2009-078-A, 3443 East Chevy Chase Drive. Is the applicant available? I'm sorry, staff, please present the project.
Yes, Mr. Chair and Design Review Board members. This is a proposal for a new single-family house on a currently undeveloped lot. This was reviewed on September 10, 2009, as a final review, and the board's 4-0 vote was to return for redesign with a number of conditions. At that meeting, board member Malikian was not present. The applicant has revised the plans in accordance with the conditions of the board and has resubmitted the project, and it's in front of us for review. I'll address the board's conditions and how the applicant has addressed them in a moment. But before that, board member Sakai, who couldn't be here today, submitted her comments in letter form, and they address the building and site design and landscaping on the project. And I've distributed those to the board members as well as the applicant to take into account or whatever decision the board wants to make. The plans are posted on the boards. To the left are the previously reviewed plans, and to the right are the revised project plans. The first condition from the board was to redesign the parking and provide a turnaround area and additional guest parking spaces. In this case, the driveway has been widened, and with respect to the guest parking spaces, staff has consulted with the city attorney, and it seems that the parking requirement, the number of parking spaces, is beyond the purview of the design review board. In this particular case, the parking meets the zoning code requirements for parking, and staff's assessment is that the widened driveway can serve as additional guest parking if necessary. The second condition was to modify and refine the massing and roof forms of the house to be more consistent with the selected contemporary architectural style. The roof forms have been changed, the pitch roofs have been eliminated and replaced with entirely flat roofs. Some of the design elements have been also modified. For instance, the pitch roof sections on the facades have been eliminated and replaced with roof canopies, with cable hangers. So the design has been changed and it's more consistent with the contemporary style. Condition 3 was to redesign the east portion of the house and its connection to the garage. The east portion of the house, as it connects to the garage, has been modified because the sloping roof over the garage has been removed. However, staff thinks that this connection can be further improved by possibly articulating, bringing forth the mass to the west of the garage a little bit forward so that the masses can be, or the volumes can be better defined, because there's a change of material that occurs between the face of the garage and the rest of the house. And this is proposed as a condition of approval by staff. Condition 4 was to enhance the main entrance to the house on the east side and to provide a sense of arrival. In the prior review, as the driveway got close to the house, the main door was not visible. In the redesigned project, the main door to the house is more prominent, and as a pedestrian or a driver approaches the house, the main entrance is visible, not just because the door is visible, but because of a canopy feature over the door. Condition 5 was to refine the design of the elevations to have a consistent architectural style and language throughout the house. As I mentioned earlier, the elimination of the sloping roofs and replacement with flat roofs, as well as some other architectural changes, have improved the elevations. Condition 6, on the westerly portion of the house, to redesign the pop-out gable volume to be more in scale with the rest of the house and to remove the mansard roof over it. This pop-out volume has been enlarged and it's more in scale with the rest of the house. Condition 7, to revise the connection between the pop-out gabled volume on the house and the rooftop deck railing. This was the result of a gabled roof section connecting with the rooftop deck railing. Because the gabled roof elements have been eliminated, this connection has been improved and is more along the contemporary architectural style. Condition 8, provide additional variation in color, such as in trim, and consider a lighter color palette. The color palette proposed for the stucco walls has remained the same. However, because the copper roof has been removed and replaced with metal trim. It appears that the metal trim, even though a color is not specified, the renderings on the elevation show white for the metal trim, and it is staff's opinion that if the metal trims are painted white, this will result in the overall lightening of the color palette and will be consistent with the board's direction. Condition 9, modify the design of the stair leading from the house to the deck on the south side of the house. The stairs have been redesigned and reoriented so that they are less protruding in the revised project. Condition 10, reduce the projections and cantilever of the deck on the south side of the house. The projection of the deck appears to be the same in the revised project. However, staff's opinion is that it is not such a big projecting deck. And with the redesign of the stairs that lead to the deck, we think that the design has been refined. Condition 11, revise the landscape plan to provide for more appropriate plant types in proper locations. The main direction from the board at that time was to provide for a wider spacing among the proposed native plants so that they can grow more naturally. And a condition to this, the landscape plan has not been revised by the applicant, and the applicant is going to address this at the meeting. But staff's opinion is that a condition should be incorporated to increase the spacing among the proposed native plants so that they can grow more naturally. A condition, there's discussion regarding this item from Board Member Sakai in her letter, and there's a condition for a specific plant specification to be increased in spacing, and she provides direction along these lines. Condition 12 is to consider removing the roof deck. The consideration to remove the roof deck was part of the inconsistencies that were resulting from the pitched roof design. Since the pitch roofs have been eliminated, we think the roof deck is more appropriate. Even though it's been increased in area, it's less disturbing in the elevations. One additional item, staff's recommendation is to approve the project with a number of conditions. One of the conditions relates to the driveway and any proposed guardrail along the driveway. At the time when we considered this project, that detail had not been provided, but since the architect has provided that detail, it's on the board. It's steel railing that's going to match the rest of the railing on the balconies and the glass railing on the roof deck in style. And we think this railing, the proposed railing, is appropriate. It's one sheet on the board on top of the material sample board. So staff's recommendation, having said all this, is for the project to be approved with a number of conditions. But the condition related to the railing of the driveway, I think, has been addressed. I would like to wrap up my presentation unless there are questions from the board. The project architect is here to answer further questions from the board.
Any questions for staff? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing. State your name and address, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and board members. My name is Edward Hagobian. My address is 220 South Kenwood Street, Suite 210, Glendale, 91205. I'm the designer of this project. I think the presentation by Mr. Bagdikian was complete in detail, and have been thinking what else I can add to that. Well, maybe there are some few things that I can add. One is that that connection of the master bathroom to the garage, we can work with the staff, and in the meantime, I would like to appreciate Stephanie's help and the cooperation in these changes that we have been making. Allow me, if I can, either encroach the bathroom towards the outside or inside, whichever works structurally correct and sound. That is the solution that I can think of regarding that detail there. Regarding the landscape issue, this is something that it's not my expertise. It's between Mr. Larry Tyson, our landscape architect, that you know. He has a long history of working in City of Glendale, and the board members, Sakai, that they can talk to each other somehow, communicate to find a solution. I am not a landscape architect, and I don't get involved and express opinions about the landscaping. That's not my.
I don't mean to interrupt you for just 1 second. In the letter, it assumed that there wasn't a landscape plan, but there is one. There is one up here. I just want to know if that was it done by the architect?
I talked to Mr. Larry Tyson regarding to the changes that board member Sakai asked for, but
did he generate this plan? Did he generate this plan, or that was
yes,
the plan?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
He insisted that what he has done is correct.
No, I just want to clarify what the letter was, that you did
Yes.
have one made. Okay. Go on, please. Sorry. Thank you.
If I have to talk about that letter that board member Sakai has written, I have to say that entering to the garage in a direction of perpendicular to the facade of the garage is not possible. I have tried this many, many times to find a solution to enter, as Mr. Zarifian was mentioning today to me, parallel to the driveway, but that even didn't work, because as soon as we branch this driveway, we run into very high retaining walls that is not allowed by code. And I gave up that solution. And also, if we drive in a slope, how we can enter in a slope to the garage? That's not possible. And then it will require a very deep backup area for the cars. So, to me, it's not possible to do that while we have enough backup space between the garage and the entry of the house. And they can. That is a good, also a turnaround area that they can turn around and go out. We have been trying to open up under deck areas behind the building to park more cars. But we run into two issues here. One is the city attorney's comment that the design board should not get involved in this issue. The second issue is that, and when I talked to the building department, they considered a parking area as living space. And living space cannot be underneath the deck above, behind the building. So we gave up that option. Other than that, I don't know if Mr. Bagidian mentioned that we have made the living room and the bedroom, master bedroom on top smaller, as was recommended by the design review board, to make that smaller, to make the other block bigger, so that there will be more scale balance between these two blocks. Overall, we have made some changes inside the house with regards to the location of the elevator and the entrance and things like that, so that I believe now it is not architecturally simple and also structurally more logic. So we'll not have any problems later on. This project is approved. We'll not have a problem with the structural design. These are the things that I can remember. If there is any question that I forgot to respond, please let me know. That's all I can think of.
I just had one question. There was a question about the fascia. Is that a metal fascia that's going to be painted, or is it another material?
Metal fascia, I was thinking about two options, either to paint or to have it stainless steel.
I'll tell you, it'd be nicer if it was a material, I think. And I actually was worried that it would be too white. I was hoping if it was a white, it would be slightly off-white.
But
I think the stainless would be nice.
Anything that you decide or you say you think is right. And in the meantime, for that connection of the master bath with the garage, we can work with the senior staff senior planner Stephanie and the...
But you're doing a mill finish on the windows? It's a mill finish aluminum on the windows, storefront window, or what? What is that?
All these windows are clad.
But is it a gray material, or I mean,
The
metal?
outside is aluminum, pre-painted aluminum, and inside is wood.
Okay, so the
Cladded window.
It is clad with that,
Yes.
the beige color then, with the beige color?
Yes.
I have one question.
Yes.
At this portion, is this on an angle?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Just want to clarify.
The shadow shows that is an angle.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay. That's...
Mr. Zarifian, I believe, was thinking that we can continue. May I approach, or I can
Yeah.
maybe show it from here?
Maybe we can,
What? We're
I
going
was
to make our
thinking that
comments?
maybe we can
should we include that
continue.
during the comments?
We can
Yeah, I
illuminate-
think we'll talk about that during the comment.
And then you can comment.
Okay.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay.
The structural engineer is here just in case if
Did you
there's
want to speak? Did you want to speak?
any questions.
No other questions? I don't know if he wants to speak, he's welcome to speak.
I have one question to the structural engineer when we comment.
Yeah, no, he was going to speak, so state your name and address, please. Thank you.
My name is Vic Kachaduri and my address is 1101 East Broadway, Suite 202, Glendale 91205. I just wanted to say that being that this project has quite a few cantilevers and overhangs different areas, including the driveway, which will suspend, it is our decision with the builder that mostly steel and concrete will be used for the structural elements to realize these overhangs without intruding into the architectural concept. I mean, in the sense of needing supports and others. So that will facilitate, including use of steel. Not to mention that it's more sustainable and fireproof for the environment. And will make it easier for us to accommodate any needs or requests that are made our way from the different consultants. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
We'll discuss it, but the only question I was going to ask you, Vic, and I know you could do it, is, I don't know, after we discuss the elimination of those braces on the cantilevers.
For the driveway?
No,
Yes. Please speak on this, please. State name and address, please. Yes. My name is Peter Lamb at 3604 St. Elizabeth Road in Glendale. Yes. When I was here last time, I had really no objection to the space, as long as there's enough parking. That was my concern, that the cars going up Chevy Chase would have a very difficult time if cars were parked along. And now I understand that the city attorney said this is not within the purview of this design board. Then I am opposed to the size of this project. If you look at this comparison on page 2, you can see that the average size of the property around the neighborhood is 71,000 square feet, and yet the house size is 8. This subject property is the size of the neighborhood, yet it is 8.4, so approximately more. The size of the average house. So I assume the average house is like a 2-car garage. Then if you scale it up, there should be 8-car garage. But yet, according to this project, it's only a 4-car garage. I don't think it's right. You know, he wants to have a 4-car garage, then it should be only double the size of the average house, not 4 times. I am opposed to this project because the size is just too big. It's a hotel. I don't know why he wants to live in a hotel, but if he wants to, he should have sufficient ample parking for the house. Not too big. It's 4 times the size of the average house in the neighborhood. Even though his subject property, the size of it, is smaller than the average size a lot. All right. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Any questions?
No questions? Thank you.
All right,
Thank you. I have a card from James Ward. State your name and address, please.
James Ward, 3441 East Chevy Chase. I'm a neighbor of this location. Since the last time this was presented to us, it's the first time I've actually had a chance to take a look at the new design. A couple concerns. The driveway is wider. It looks like it's going to be, suspend more spaces on it. It still has an issue with kind of the driveway itself, where it intersects with Chevy Chase. It makes a very radical turn at that point and then descends. Again, it's not really ideal for emergency vehicles, large vehicles. I'm going to be surprised how they get furniture in and out of this place, because you're not going to have a delivery van going down. May host a car or some other vehicles, but larger vehicles, especially a fire truck or something, will no way have access to this site. The other thing is, to be able to take the trash up, you take it up to the curb, and you have to take the trash out of a 8,000 square foot building. They're going to have more than 2 or 3 dumpsters, and they're going to have to tote it up that driveway or have a location near the top, or there's going to be some mechanical way to get it up there. I don't know, but it's not very well designed. We just had some recent rains, and I still say the site unstable soil. There is a definite site of a landslide across the street directly above it, and there's been slippage up and down the side of that road due to this 5 inches of rain we had. Make sure that this house has a catch basin behind it. It's built right into the slope, and there's a lot of loose debris soil between that and the side of the road. You have Chevy Chase, and if someone whips a beer can out the window, it's going to land on that nice roof right there, because it's not very far from the edge of the highway, very unstable soil, and it looks like there's a very small retaining wall or a couple series of retaining walls, but it's not very well designed into that hillside. So the slope is not very good. The parking plan, how is he going to build this thing without impacting the whole Chevy Chase driveway? You've got 2,000 yards of soil that has to be removed, and I don't know if it's going to go up a suspended driveway that, like I said, I don't think you can get a dump truck up and down it. They're probably going to have to get a variance to use the turnout on the side of the road as a lay-down yard, construction yard, which would impact. If not, they're going to do some other damage to the site that's going to have to be repaired afterwards. And then it comes into the landscape plan. I haven't reviewed the landscape plan, but this is a very touchy area with animals that move in and out, and hopefully it's native plantings and stuff, but you do have to watch the potential of fire. This is a flume of a canyon. If there was for some reason a fire in the Chevy Chase Canyon, fire would come up that canyon at a very fast rate, and if there's a lot of vegetation around the plant and those exposed decks, they would possibly catch fire and destroy the house. So those are concerns we have in the canyon. And other than that, as far as the architectural appeal of the house, you can focus on it all you want. It's basically tucked into a canyon that has no visual drive-by vision of it. The only person who's going to be looking at those improvements is my house, and I have a lot of fruit trees that hopefully will block that view. But it's really not going to be seen. They're going to be looking at the roof. So you might as well make that very nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There doesn't seem to be any other cards. Anybody else would like to speak on this topic? Yeah, I was going to have you come back up if there was anybody else to speak. Sure, please.
Parking issue, we know that it's based on the calculation in the zoning code that up to 8,000 square foot, we need 4 parkings. But by widening the in front of the house, we have some space also there to park more cars. So we are not violating any zoning codes on that. We have talked to the fire department about this driveway, and they are okay with this project. They have no complaint. So if the neighbor was talking about the fire truck accessibility, we have no problem with that either. However, if there is any unstable soil there or conditions that are not pleasant now, by constructing this house and by putting all these retaining walls, drainages, hopefully we will upgrade the existing condition to prevent any kind of erosion or even the fire. Usually, in order to get a building permit in City of Glendale, we go through an extensive plan check with the engineering department, and if there's any need for catch basin, drainage, or things like that, definitely they will check plans for that, and we have to provide all the necessary code provisions on that. For the trash, I have thought somewhere closer to the street that inside the dirt we can create a space that we can push the trash enclosures there. My time is finished. Any questions?
Any questions?
Can you explain a little bit more in terms of how the fire department looked at kind of
because the width of the driveway is enough for an ambulance to enter to this property, and if they need what's called this
Fire hydrant.
Fire hydrant, we will have one there if necessary. So ambulance and the fire hydrant will solve the issue.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, I had one.
Oh, sorry. Okay, one more.
Well, I was going to ask you about the staging of the construction. During the construction, how have you kind
That's
of...
not my expertise. I was talking to the contractor, to the owner, and he was confident that they will be able temporarily to grade some, and after the work is finished, then to bring it back to the existing condition, what is today there.
And then in terms of the overall drainage approach, because it's on a hillside, do you lead most of the water around the building, kind of, or it goes down immediately?
I guess we'll have our civil engineers to have a sump pump there to pump this drainage, as we do usually in downslope lots.
Then one more question. Do you have any proposed roof garden?
No.
It's just a flat roof?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's...
Okay. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll open it up. Who would like to begin?
Go for it.
Maybe I'll start. I think the building design has improved a lot. It has made a big difference, and I think the building is a lot more together and kind of sitting in the landscape in a more kind of connects to it in a more dramatic way. And I think the building has a very strong horizontal appeal to it that maybe, if I may kind of refer to one comment, maybe I'll start with the comment about the garage and the master bathroom relationship. I think if the garage material becomes like the building material, it would be, so I think the garage is very much part of the building. So instead of changing the volume or the plane of the volume of the master bathroom, I think the garage should become like the building. So at least the way I see it, the building is made out of planes that disappear in the landscape. Is a very strong way of letting the building sit within the landscape rather than making it kind of about volumes that are sort of imposed on the landscape. So if I show this, it seems to me that this volume should become one continuous piece that kind of disappears in the landscape. And yeah, you'll have time to. I'll just make a few comments. And in the same way, I think these retaining walls can maybe, instead of having kind of a cut into the landscape as one way of thinking about it, but then if you think that this is a plane that kind of disappears in the landscape, I think these retaining walls can also be kind of slices into the landscape. That way you have made the house that starts as walls of landscaping that eventually becomes the house. So that's one way of looking at it. The other way is that if you look at this wall, somehow make the wall disappear, will help the house sit within the landscape, I think, better. Because I think if it follows the shape of the landscape, it doesn't become so obtrusive as a wall. The other comment that I had was that in terms of the general composition of the house, I think if you look at the plans also, the house is about this strong, two strong volumes, which I think is still kind of prominent in the old design, and then very large kind of pieces that span in between. I think this one starts to fight with these two volumes and becomes kind of too central, takes away from the strength of these two big spaces and what spans in between. I think in the plan you were concerned about finding a way of locating the bathroom. Just from an architectural point of view, I think having the bathroom on the main kind of facade of the building probably maybe less of a I mean, it's not the space or the function that you want to have on the front of the building. If these two spaces, the closet and the bathroom, can find a way of making a layer behind, and so that you have a simple space and take that element away from it, might work out. You can comment about it, but personally I think it will help the front elevation be about this big glazed area that are about light and expressing the strength of that large span between the two big volumes. Other than that, I think there's an L-shaped canopy here that I think it's a suggestion. One of the let's see, where can I show it better? This little piece of canopy, I think if you take it out, it will help, because it probably has no function. The small one on
showing on the east elevation.
On this face.
It's showing on the east elevation.
Oh, this one. This one? No.
Yeah, that's the other part of the.
I didn't show the other line.
You don't see the one on this face. This.
Looking at the side of the one.
It's an L shape. It seems like all of these canopies are very simple, kind of.
You don't need the canopy there.
You don't really need the canopy there. I think the strength of the house is about this very horizontal readings of these canopies that really are set in, or the planes and everything else that really play across this very strong landscape.
Could it also be, as you were saying, even though this is part of the balcony, this detail here,
yeah,
wouldn't it help if this pulled through right here?
It could, yeah.
As a way of tying that?
It could. I just see that maybe it's either the surface that ties it together or the line that goes across. I think these two want to connect more rather than to become different. So that's probably possible also. Let me look at my notes just in case if I. Basically, that's what I have. I think everything else. If the fire issues, the land, all those other issues can be addressed, then I think the building is pretty much there.
Respond.
Is this?
You'll have a chance. You'll have a chance after we talk.
Maybe there would be other comments.
Yeah, other comments you can respond on. Let's have you answer one. If you're feeling on one thing, it's always great to have you here. What do you think about the bracings on the eyebrows? What are your
Oh no, I think I agree. If those could be eliminated, it will be stronger.
Too commercialized.
They look a bit more, yeah.
Commercial.
Okay, that's just one.
I'm sure it can be done. It's not a big problem.
My turn. Great. I mean, like Alex said, it's a great improvement from the last one. I like the design. It's a big difference from the last time, and now the design is more consistent. I mean, the whole building, it's kind of working together. You don't have separate architecture and languages across the board. I don't want to repeat, but I wish, those cables could be eliminated because it's giving kind of a commercial rather than residential feel. The only concern I have, because you have all this horizontal and vertical, and then you're introducing this area, the angle glazing, which kind of, you don't have that language anywhere in the design, and I wish you could cut that piece going straight, keep it cleaner, like the rest of the design. It will give you a better design, cleaner design, and also it will avoid leakage too, and bird, mess and all that. So you will resolve. You will hit too many birds in one stone. The garage, the way you have it, it's fine. I wouldn't agree that to change the access to the garage. I like it. Actually, I like it personally that the garage door is hidden from the view of people coming in and out, and it's more functional this way. But I do agree with Alec. Maybe you need to attach that wall, the recess, or change the material to match the same material to make it blend in the bathroom, the second floor, and the garage as a one piece, and it disappears within the slope. That will help. What else? The railings. I like the railing, the glass. It gives I like it better than the metal railings. The roof is fine. As far as the landscaping, I'm not going to be able to comment that much on the landscaping because April and I'm sure the planning department will resolve that issue with the landscaping. And also as far as the fire and construction and all that, I don't think so. It's my place to, building department will deal with that if there's a problem with the fire department will deal with their own problems. If they have a problem, they will address the issue to the applicant and the architect. What else? Pretty much that's about it. I'm happy with this proposal.
Can I add one more comment? Because the roof will be seen from Chevy Chase Drive, I would suggest that maybe you can think of a sort of a very large gravel or something that has the tone and the color of the general landscape so that it becomes part of the landscape. So you look down and almost don't see it. I would suggest that would be a good thing to do rather than seeing some kind of a roofing material. I think you should see landscaping. So that's why I thought maybe
gravel. You mean?
No, they're very large gravel that comes in
like a river rocks type.
It's not one size. It's
Yeah,
like
it can be
very
yeah.
varied sizes, and
very
it looks like as if it's a part of the ground of the general landscape. That's why I thought maybe roof garden, but roof garden is a big issue. But I think gravel
Adding material.
would be a good thing to have.
Yep. Okay. I also think it was nicely done. I like the revisions that were done. I think my inclination would be sort of keeping the pitch roofs, working with the pitch roofs, but you've consolidated in a new style, which I think is nice. I like that some of those elements moved up and broke the line of the roof deck. Those two elements that actually protrude up, so you kind of break that line up at the top. I think that's nice how that's done. Just to address a couple things the neighbors were saying, it does have to go through different layers of approval. So it's going to have to go through Public Works, which will talk about those turning radiuses and dealing with the street issues, and all of the drainage issues will have to be resolved. Fire will have to review it and sign off on it. So there's an intensive review that happens to this that's outside of our purview. So that'll all that drainage will have to be designed, signed off, and engineered and everything by a civil engineer. So there's a lot of work that goes into that site, all those kind of site issues, so that are outside of what we're talking about here. I did sort of hope that we could get that driveway happening sort of split level, but you've said you've tried to do that and it didn't work, and I trust you that you did that. I do like the idea that you don't see the garage, as we were saying before. I think that actually is a nice thing that you don't come up and see 4 doors or 5 doors there as you come up. I do think it's a little odd that the door is kind of tucked in that alcove with the garage door, so once you get to that point, I think it's going to seem a little bit like you're in the parking garage. So I think that's just something you might deal with material that's at the driveway there, or some kind of design work that you do at that area. Because I think it could have kind of the feel that, that it's going to sort of have the noise of and the smell of the car in that little tiny space. So I think it would be an issue to think about, and it could definitely be handled with potted plants and pots and whatnot there to deal with that. I sort of agree with the cabling to take it off of those eyebrows. That's why I wanted you to comment on it to see if we were sort of in agreement with that. I think it's always nice to have additional details, but I think that what is so nice about the design is the horizontality, so I think it sort of fought that. The interesting part you had about the material of the garage, when you view it this way, which nobody will view from that vantage point, I can see how you were using those base materials similarly. So you saw the garage as the lower floor material, whatever color or scoring you were doing. You were trying to say that that's that lower element that's working into the ground. You understand that when you see it from that elevation, you'll have one neighbor who will appreciate that. But I think in reality, when you come to the house, you'll see the garage as a different material for no apparent reason. So I think that's correct about my colleague, that you might as well make it similar.
I understood.
You can see it from one side, it makes sense, but when you come up, you'll never see that other, it's down below, you'll never see it.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, as Board Member Carrico said, your intention is well taken in terms of the ground elements be made out of the same thing, but somehow at this point
you'll never see it when you enter, and nobody except the one neighbor between the fruit trees, between the lemon and the oranges, he'll see it, but other than that, nobody will. But all in all, I like the project. I would think it would be much more successful if it had the stainless. I think that'd be nice, a nice detail, only because it's really just going to be pounded by the sun. And I think any kind of painted material really isn't going to last, and I think it would be unfortunate to have peeling paint and whatnot up there. So I think a stainless on it would be nice. I also was looking at your elevation. I was thinking that you were doing sort of a mill finish on the windows to give the little bit of contrast. I don't know why I got that sense, but even though you have it that way, I still got the sense that the windows were lighter. But I don't know, just the way the bias in my mind was working. But you were sort of going monotone with the wall material, which is fine.
The angle window.
The angle window, I sort of, that's sort of a gimme. I'll let him have that one. Again, your one neighbor is going to, be the judge with his fruit trees. I mean, he's the only one who's going to see it. So I'll give them that one.
Actually, when Mr. Hakopian comes back, I have a question that.
Okay, that's fine. You guys,
the whole thing together.
You guys decide the windows. I'm out on that one. I think I'm okay
I
with
think
that.
it's his turn to come back. So
Yeah, that's fine. Now, I just want to say one other thing about the landscape. I do think that it ought to be something that works out with.
Sure. Yeah.
May I approach?
Yeah.
As far as I understand, your concern is that this material here should change to this material, this is stucco, but this is concrete block. This is something that the structural engineer has to advise me, because this is a retaining wall and this is a retaining wall. On the back is retaining wall, and those have to be concrete block.
No, it could remain concrete block. You just have to stucco it.
Stucco. Yeah. That's the solution. If you can agree with the
That's
stucco,
what I'm saying.
I have no problem with that. Now, regarding this L shape here, if you look into this elevation, I needed to bring this out so that it will cover this window. That's why I made it L shape. If I have two choices, either to make entire thing here like this, or go back and come an L shape. If this is the entire length of from here to here, it will be very long, very deep.
It won't look right.
Won't look right. That's why
What do you need it? What do you need it?
I'm trying to cover top of this window and top of this window both.
Do you really need it?
You almost have it drawn as 2 in that elevation, even though you're doing the shadow that way. But if you read that elevation, it almost looks like it could be 2.
You don't really need it.
Or they're
though.
disconnected as a. Would that help
Yeah, I
you or
think
not?
Do you really need? I don't
Do
think
you
so.
really need that?
I'm trying to protect this window and this window both. That's why it became L-shaped. Now, if you insist that it shouldn't be L-shaped,
no, it's not actually
well
even
built.
a condition. It's fine. I was just saying
please
that
think about that.
there's such a. It becomes a very odd condition.
I understand, but that was the
That's
intention
fine.
behind to have both these windows to
Yeah,
have
it's not. It's
enough
not a-
depth of cover on top
It's
of
not one of the main comments.
Okay. You put your finger in my painful area. This is something that I have been working on this many days. Because I want this wall not to be in the same plane of this wall. That's why I pushed it back. I wanted this balconies not to come in front of this glass, where behind the balcony is a glass, is not a room. So this was my approach or my conclusion after many days of struggling with this area here. If you want me to change it, I can eliminate and bring it here. I don't know what will be the the outcome, but
No, I mean I'm okay the way you have it. All I'm probably that I'm okay with this. Probably this window should go down, and then you wrap it. I think this should be straight. I think it should be cleaner, consistent. I mean everywhere.
if I bring this straight down, then this balcony will be deeper here.
That's fine.
If it's acceptable,
I think it will give a
I
nice
don't know how it will
corner
work in
because
the plan.
I looked at your plan. It will look a nice window corner.
But if you bring that window out, then
No, I wouldn't bring it. I would have
Okay,
leave it
fine.
back.
Look
take the
like
lower
this.
one back.
Yeah, leave it the recessed one because it will give a nice.
It will work out if we widen this corridor.
Yeah, yeah.
Fine.
I think we'll. Where's the sun? Where's
I think it's
the
underneath
set? Where's the first floor?
I think it's underneath it.
This is the
So basically, this will be right here, right?
yeah.
And then you will have a nice niche. I mean, it will look. I think it will look nicer.
I think it's a possibility.
It will be much simpler to build it and less headache for you.
I have no problem.
It'll be cleaner.
I have no problem with
The
eliminating
window is
if the
this way.
structural engineer promises that we can eliminate this wires. It's fine. Okay, no problem.
Weekend could do it.
Maybe can I ask you something?
Yeah.
It's too close.
Is this at the same plane with that and that volume? That's only an overhang. I can't quite understand.
Looks like it's the same point.
Where?
Looks like it's the same point.
Yeah, this is it, right? That's the edge of the. You know, I think maybe one way of resolving this to stand so far out and competing with this, can you turn this into just
All glass?
Railing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because maybe by letting this be part of that, it I don't know, something starts to make this almost wanting to compete
Okay,
with
fine. If I can keep this and change this.
yeah, if you change the top, it will.
I think that looks fine.
Wait, are you saying bring it straight across or just the?
No, just if this whole top from end to end is only glass, it's not coming up like.
Oh, not past.
Oh.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
okay,
like this.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
No, maybe. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it simplifies it.
And make this one straight
No,
from the
yeah,
back.
you know,
then you have that indentation, articulation.
Problem with it.
If this stays that slope, then kind of.
I don't like that slope at all.
But I think I don't have a problem with the slope. I think
You wake up
the
sideways.
top,
I don't like
if
that
it's
slope.
simplified, it will help.
It's so old.
It will help the composition.
Between you two,
Yeah.
Come up
Alex.
with an agreement so that
we'll do an arm wrestling.
No, we
arm
should
wrestling for it.
Because
What
if
do
I
you
go
think?
straight down,
Like I said, I think it's a.
downstairs becomes very small.
It's okay. The house is 8,000 square feet plus. You could manage without that space.
I think you should have flexibility in that. I think
Yeah.
the lemon tree and the orange tree won't mind.
Yeah,
I'm not for
I
it.
wouldn't make it a condition from my perspective.
I will.
You
Can I have my condition?
Whoever makes the motion, somebody's got to make a motion to get second, because I can't second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Are we
Let's wrap it up.
wrap it up? Close that up. So who's going to make a motion?
So
Actually, can we go over? Hold on, one second. Why don't we just go over some things we've talked about? Do you have anything written down that?
I have a number of things written down. In no particular order, the connection in the facade between the garage and the master bath should be resolved by changing the material of the garage, of the facade of the garage, the same as the material of the house, which is stucco.
And possibly adding fascia that's on the garage over into the house. That's a possibility, like, just as a maybe.
yeah, maybe.
As a
I
maybe.
don't.
As
yeah.
a maybe. As a
Yeah.
maybe. Okay.
Yeah, it seems like there's a line that goes right across.
Yeah.
in
I'm
general.
not really tying it. Go on, sorry.
And a comment from Mr. Zarifian was for the retaining walls above the house to blend into, the ends of the retaining walls above the house to blend into the landscaping.
Yeah, either that or the walls that are stepping down on to the sides of those retaining walls be straightened out so that it follows the slope of the landscaping.
They're not stepped, they go on a slope.
Yes.
This one. I think it's very protruding in the landscape. If this can be straightened out, or these retaining walls be sort of continued so they disappear in the landscape.
Is that an and or an or?
Or
Okay.
It's a condition with an or.
I don't want
condition with an
to
order.
add $200,000 to the project cost, but I'm just saying that raising an issue about those zigzagged walls become very prominent.
Costing.
It's one of the most visible parts of this project. so
Yeah,
there's
because
something
it takes away from the house.
Yeah.
So as an or, we can say the ends of the retaining walls to be angled to blend into the landscaping.
To follow the slope of the landscape.
Yeah, slope the wall or angle the ends. The condition with an or.
Okay. With respect to the middle vertical element, I heard comments regarding topping that vertical element with glass and the angled window adjacent to it removed, and
That one we'll leave for who makes the motion.
that's a comment.
We'll
To the
hold it
right.
aside.
The motion will be to accept.
Well, somebody going to make that
condition.
motion? Somebody will make that? Okay, very good. Add it on there, see what happens.
Okay, so we
Give us
added
a
that.
list.
And eliminate the canopy hangers. To consider gravel on the roof with a tone that matches the hillside,
Blend in with the earth.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
or,
Yeah,
or
matches
colored
the-
or matches the hillside, whether it's
I can't hear you.
After that portion,
Right, of course, yeah, but, yeah.
Can you clarify that? I thought
I was
that
just
the
gonna
roof
say,
deck
The roof deck should also have a color that matches. I was just thinking the same thing.
so that the roof of the house that's not the deck, that's not a part of the deck, should be gravel, and that the roof deck should be a roofing material that has a color to
Yes.
match, and you don't necessarily want the roof deck
Right.
to be gravel.
Yes.
Which
Who's
roof?
fermenting is
Which roof?
Your comment was
portion
good.
of the roof is
Your
in
comment
that.
was good. The portion that's roof would have rock that is the color that's consistent, but the area that's a roof deck that you're walking on
Oh,
won't be gravel, but it will have a color that's complementary also.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. And consider stainless steel fascias.
Stainless steel fascia. Stainless
Clear
steel fascia.
anodized.
Stainless steel or anodized.
Well, that's the, I mean, it can have
Yeah,
a sense.
that's fine.
It's
We- I
clear
can-
anodized, okay.
Just as a note, the all of the storefront windows that are being used are noted as painted white. So, do you want them all to be the same color, stainless steel or anodized aluminum? Or I think
Well-
that was the comment that staff had made. Essentially, match all of the metal that is in the storefront system and the fascia metal and the railing
Should match.
should match. So if you're asking that the fascia and the railing be stainless steel or anodized aluminum, the question is, do you want the windows or storefront to be all the same, consistent with that?
I think it would be
I
more
don't
successful.
think
that
I
way.
don't think it's a stainless steel. I think they're mislabeling it. It's a clear anodized, which is aluminum. If they're going to go with white, the white is big. I mean cladded windows white. It's baked white, and it's aluminum. And we
Right.
match those. I mean, it's not. They're not going to put stainless steel. It's going to cost them a fortune.
No, the fascia though. The
Fascia, yeah. But it's a clear anodized. It's aluminum. They're not going to.
The high.
Okay, so just to clarify, are you asking that it all be a metal color, whether or not it's stainless steel or anodized aluminum, or white color? Does it matter if they're two different colors?
My concern was that if they used a galvanized fascia that they were going to paint on site,
Okay.
it's not going to last. That
Okay.
was my concern.
So if it's a shop finished white, you're fine with that.
Yeah, the windows. I bet the windows are going to come pre-finished white from
Right.
the manufacturer.
Right,
They're not
there'll be
gonna paint.
electrostatic finish,
They're not
and they
gonna
could
paint.
do that with the fascia. They don't have to have
Fascia,
the.
they could paint it.
I'm saying it's not.
No,
gonna
I
last.
think Stephanie is saying that whether the metal used, whether it's on mullions or fascia, should
Should
be
match.
the match.
Should match.
And it could be done so it's not
If they could be
site
done,
painted.
I could give them that option, but they should
Yeah.
match. They could be all
Field painted, sorry.
metal or all.
Okay, so it's all shot. It's not painted in the field is the concern because okay,
Yeah.
very good. Thank you.
So the finish of the metal fascias to match the finish of the windows.
Yes.
Right. So it could either be metal, vinyl, or painted other.
Okay. And that's all I have.
You want to add anything to that?
We also would like you. There was some discussion about the comments you received on the landscape. Do you want to be silent on those comments? Do you want those to be added as conditions or considerations?
Well, she was making comments to go look and make some recommendations. So what I was wondering, how do we direct staff to acknowledge
well, you
that?
can include. I mean, these are written comments that you can include all of them, none of them. I
The
think those
exception of
comments.
the garage comment, I think any landscape comment
You have to
could be
fill in-
incorporated with the comments that you have made for the spacing and so on.
Okay, so because we had in the staff report there were specific comments regarding the spacing. I think that the written comments you've received are even more specific. That includes plant types and spacing. So and that's because the person who wrote this has substantial expertise in landscape that staff does not have.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. I just would, is there a way of including this verbiage and have it be then a negotiation with their landscape architect to look at the two?
Well,
Is that possible, or does it have to be literal to this?
well, if it's a consideration, then the applicant can simply ignore it. I mean, they have a choice. If you'd like to condition it, then they have no choice. There's not a whole lot of flexibility in that case. Maybe you want to condition, one option would be to condition the spacing, because that seems to show up everywhere and make the species of plant consideration.
How can we condition that the landscape architect work with the staff?
I would not recommend that approach.
That was my.
I mean, we can.
I think we could do the spacing, and then as long as it was shown that they were using natural material, that was.
Maybe
there could be flexibility on material if they had a preference, as long as it was drought tolerant.
Okay, so you'd like us to condition the spacing that's noted, and we can put in the plant types as a consideration, and you like the native planting,
Native and drought tolerant. They could come
native
up with
and
another-
drought tolerant to be a condition of that.
Yeah, I think that's a good.
And we can include the plant types as considerations.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What she said.
In addition to that, if I remember from the letter, there was something mentioned regarding a gravel ground finish. Instead of the ground cover, a combination of gravel and succulents. That was mentioned in the letter.
I actually would wonder if that makes sense on hillside, so whether you would want to have more ground
So
cover.
that's the
or not.
question. Maybe the landscape architect.
Yeah, I don't want
They
to,
have to. I mean,
yeah. I would ask, that would have been my question for her if she was here, how that works with hillside. And
yeah.
So would you like to make that a consideration, to consider the
yeah.
gravel finish with the succulents as mentioned in the letter? Okay.
I do think it's important.
Actually, the succulents and gravel have to do with the, she mentions in the planters along the south wall.
Also, it's the one
So
that's
it's not-
connected to the building.
Right.
Then that's.
I wish the landscape architect was here. At least
Yeah,
from
it's-
their side, he would have made us much easier.
I think she's talking about a specific look that she has in mind here, and
I mean, there's two people missing.
I would keep that as a consideration for me. I mean, I know Tris.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
There was one thing that came up that the neighbor was absolutely correct on. There's going to be a lot of work that happens before that elevated way is done, and there's going to be disruption to the site. So are we able to say those slopes put back where they are in some sense? I mean, how would we word that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so I would just want to put something in there for that. So.
Well, those slopes would have to be put back, otherwise the grading plan that was presented as part of the initial design review submittal, and plus during the environmental review and the conditional use permit process would not apply.
Okay, I just
There
want to
was
make
a
sure
grading
that
plan
was...
that was submitted.
That's fine.
Yeah, I do think, though, since it was mentioned in the meeting today that there will be additional grading for staging area, we could add it as a condition so that we can make sure to watch out for that.
That was my point, just so it was a heads up.
Yeah.
The staging areas be...
Even though it's already required.
Yeah.
So the staging area to be returned to its natural condition.
Yeah.
Apart from what's going to be built over.
Right.
Yeah, I have one request though. Going back to the roof deck that we talked about, a color of roofing that matches. I think that roof deck probably should be a paved area that kind of blends into the rest of the pavings used
I
because
disagree with that, actually. I like your gravel idea.
no, the gravel part
Okay.
is the gravel is the roofing area.
Yeah.
That's roof. It's
Oh, you're
not a
saying the deck areas. You're
No,
saying
the deck area.
Okay.
The deck area shouldn't look like a roof. It should be a usable area because when you look down, the roof.
He wants to do paving on it, so that was
It
my
is
intent.
paved. It is
The deck
paved-
areas?
The roof deck areas is paved, or
It's a wood or it's paved?
What's the material for the roof decks?
I haven't decided yet, but most probably be some kind of non-slippery tiles.
tiles. Oh, okay, then that's what I'm saying. That's fine. So it's not the roofing. No, that's fine.
Yeah. In a complementary color.
Yes. Okay. I've got the conditions and the consideration down. Is there a motion?
Anything else?
Yeah,
Agree with
motion.
that?
Yeah.
What do we,
you put
this is
on
the
one?
big major
Oh.
thing about the sloping window.
The
What are we,
sloping window.
what are we doing?
Condition.
Arm wrestle? What are we doing? What are we doing?
And this is a big guy.
It's now in there as a condition or a consideration, the sloping window?
It was a consideration.
I thought we read it off as a condition.
Condition.
But also, while you're considering that, the L-shaped canopy, what was the decision on that? Because I didn't hear that read off as part.
I think
I
think
it
to
out.
split the baby, it's drawn on the one elevation as two, or you could see it as two. I don't know if that helps your idea that if
I
it's
think
two,
that canopy should be out.
if it was two separate
I think
ones,
it's
is that
too
fine?
much. I think it's too much. I think
The thing, the canopy on the south side goes along with the rest of the canopies. When I think that's the only L-shaped canopy you have, right? So I don't know. I mean, I don't think that little window is going to benefit from that canopy.
Okay, so I hear two lose that L shape of the canopy and one compromise position.
What if it was two? Does it matter if it was two?
Fighting
No,
with
I-
the entrance canopy.
I think
You're competing with the entrance canopy. I think it's too much.
yeah,
You see, like a spaghetti of canopies. I think it's not doing anything. I mean,
I think I
in my
would keep
opinion,
it.
I would take
I would
it
keep
out.
it on the south side only.
Okay, so that's sounds like it's a condition.
Okay.
Yeah, let's make it a condition.
All right.
So you're trimming it to one side.
It's just
No,
gonna
This
be-
is you
south
want to
side.
take it out.
No, not L-shaped, just a straight one on the south side.
no.
Why do we need that one too?
Hmm?
Why do we need that
Well, that
one?
one
No,
looks
it's
good.
south facing.
It works a
Look
little
at
bit.
it.
South facing.
I'll support him on the south one.
Yeah.
You're against me today.
There's a little bit of controversy. It makes
Okay.
it fun. What about the sloping window? What are we doing with the
Well,
sloping
it
window?
depends. I'll give you that one.
If we're trading this,
That's what you've been doing.
I don't know. I think, what do you feel about the sloping window? Last out, and we can move.
There's
this
no
on.
other angle on the property. I mean, it doesn't make sense when you have straight horizontals and then you introduce an angle.
I agree, but I'm just saying it's in an area that's
It's a
really.
modern contemporary look. You don't get that.
Like I said, it's going to
Call
be the
Richard
lemon and the
Meyer.
orange
Why
tree.
don't
are
you
the
call
only ones
Richard
you're gonna see.
Meyer and then tell him I'm being
Actually, Richard Meyer has a building.
old.
Yeah.
Old back in the 70s.
Okay, resolve it. What
No,
are we
it's,
doing?
it's
What are you doing?
fine.
Yes.
I
It's your
think
decision now.
straight.
It's your decision. Because I'm gonna. You know what mine is. You know what his is.
He's going with me.
I tell you why I think it should stay, Mr. Bologna.
Yes.
Because if you look here, if you cut this down,
You have a nice corner window.
this will be a kind of a much smaller piece.
But that's above.
But then it
It gives a nice
is
element.
this all?
Glass too.
Yeah, look at
I think it will look better.
that. So the slope happens above at the.
Yeah.
This is first floor.
No, but the slope
Second floor.
happens
Second floor.
on top of it.
Yeah.
It just cuts that hole down so much. It becomes a little hole there. That's
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like the look of it when you take it out. I see your point about making the corner.
I'm not the architect. This is the architect. In my
Yeah, I would vote for leaving it in.
Okay. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
We're selling you down the
I'll
road.
get you guys later.
Okay, very good. It'll be a consideration. Leave it as a consideration.
I'll get back to you guys.
You get a consideration. Your feelings are valid. We validated your feelings.
So we end up with two considerations. One
Yes.
is the angled window, and then the second one is the gravel with the succulents in the planters.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion?
It's motion to approve it, conditions and
You going
consideration,
to second it?
as
I
noted.
don't know. I'm thinking. I second.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second.
do you think?
The angle?
Recommendation.
Recommendation only,
Recommendation.
yeah.
Consideration, sorry.
Consideration. I second it.
It's been seconded.
Roll call. Mr. Boladian?
Mr.
Mr.
Boladian?
Baladian?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Yes.
Mr. Zarifian?
Yes.
And Chairman Garagos?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Approval of minutes. We have one set of minutes for you all to look at tonight. It was meeting of 2 weeks ago.
Oh, we can, we can't, can we? Yeah,
Yeah,
we have.
Can we do it?
people. Yeah.
Well,
Yes,
Oh, we were all here.
as long as,
Okay, has everybody read it? You want to read it over real quick?
I read it. I'm okay.
You okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
you're okay?
I'm okay.
Yes.
Okay, who wants to make the motion?
Motion to approve the minutes of meeting, January 14th meeting.
Okay, second.
I second it.
There.
Mr. Zarifian?
Yes.
Mr. Baladian?
Yes.
Mr. Garagos?
Yes.
Great. Okay, I have one additional announcement, and then I believe Stephanie does as well. I just wanted to remind you that our next meeting on February 11th, we will not be holding a DRB meeting, but we are holding an ethics training in this room from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock.
Do I have to sign in for that or just show up?
Yeah, I have signed up
attend.
to.
So I don't need to sign in. I just show up that day. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I've marked my name as that I'll be taking it online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
But it's
also
once every
possible.
2 years, though, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, because we did it a year ago. Didn't we do it a year ago? We did it a year ago.
You might, I'm not sure if I did that.
I didn't.
Okay,
do it.
well, I did it a
You
year
might
ago.
have done. So he's.
Does that mean I'm good for another year if I did it a year ago?
Yeah, it's 2
I
years.
believe so.
Well, I think we were told that it's required for everyone. I'm not really sure why.
I read it. It says 2 years.
Okay.
I read it.
Roger, maybe you can check that.
We'll
and
just,
get-
we'll figure out
Okay,
if
very good.
you all are required.
So
to
one more announcement. Were you finished with yours, Roger?
Oh, yeah.
I was, thanks.
Okay. Last Tuesday, City Council looked at the issue of green building. If you're interested, the report is online, and they requested that we compose a task force to look at some of the issues that had come up, because, as you know, the choices for municipal governments to legislate green building as a requirement is a fairly complex matter. So there are a lot of choices, even if you choose a single system per se, rating system or code, there are a lot of choices on how to administer that. So if any of you have interest in being on such a task force, let me know.
Can I just ask one question? Is it
Yes.
being administered through the planning department, or it seems like it's more of a building safety issue?
It would be
How does it work?
administered through both, but
What
that's
kind of-
those kinds of details will be part of the discussion.
Okay.
What kind of task force when you say task force?
It will essentially be our outreach to the community, the development community, the architects, nonprofit organizations. We are not sure who all will be on it, but we're going to make sure we have representatives from the development community, the real estate community, the investment community, the architectural community, etc.
Great, very good.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
And there's a motion and seconded and passed.
Boom.